She-Hulk Episode 4, the show that every woman can relate to. As long as you're the one that wrote it. Oh yeah, and she's a We start with a magician, and he's really bad. The crowd's fed up, bored, and they don't know why they're here. Basically, it's a metaphor for the show's audience. He does really basic tricks. Oh, I can summon fire. But needs that extra bit of oomph, so he invites someone from the audience, a volunteer. An extremely drunk volunteer who has the IQ of a spoon. Is this another self-insert from the writers? I don't know, I just watched the thing. What I will say is if this is meant to be something that every woman can relate to, then I'd suggest you get better friends. Who am I joking? They don't have friends. But let's get an idea of what this character is meant to be.
What's your name, young lady?
Madison with 2 N's, not where you think.
What?
I genuinely can't tell when this show's meant to be funny. Why don't you get Sean Bean on and take the piss out of his name? At least he'll be a good actor. But this guy does the amazing magic trick of summoning roses, which you can clearly see are in his hand, so I don't really know what this is even meant to be. And I know he's meant to be bad at magic, that's why you can see it in his hand, but we already know he's bad at magic, we know he's dying. You've put a non-entertaining performer in a non-entertaining show. I don't think anyone needed the inception. But he gives her the roses and she starts complaining that these don't smell anything. No, it's because they're plastic, love. And literally no one in the audience laughs or claps or celebrates. But he gets all panicked. Oh no, I'm failing.
Do the thing, do it, do it, do it.
Do the thing, do the thing. Summon the portal. So he decides to go to actual magic, and instead, I'm going to send her to a hell dimension. He struggles, but eventually opens up a portal behind her. And I thought that the portal was going to cut off a limb or something, but instead, no. Apparently, she just enters the portal, which has a severed head behind her in it, and does perfectly well in it, in her drunken state.
Ew.
She literally sees the portal, the severed head, says ew, and decides to walk into it anyway. But don't worry, we're off to Kathmandu in Nepal. We've got the supposed Sorcerer Supreme, who would have been very happy to destroy the entire multiverse. But don't worry, we're not humiliating him at all. No, instead, he's trying to enjoy The Sopranos when this happens. Yes, somehow she went into a hell dimension, survived, escaped with a severed heart, and came back, while still remaining drunk. Not that she cares.
What happened to all the goblins?
Oh, do you remember that time you got drunk, went on a bender, murdered a guy, and killed a load of goblins, and came home? No! This isn't relatable! But he's like, where did you come from? Did a cutthroat magician send you here? I don't emote much, but this is my angry face.
Not exactly. He sent me to a diff dimension.
He sent me to a diff dimension. I hate modernity. No, she did say he sent her back for 6 drops of her blood, but she came through holding a beating heart, which she actually didn't seem to care that much about. I have a feeling it cost someone else a lot more. Kind of like my sanity with this show. But she's like, oh, this is the thing in The Sopranos where they do the thing, and he can't believe that she's given him spoilers for The Soprano, because obviously this is something he really cares about, and it really contributes to the enjoyment of the show.
You just ruined it. Darling, Place is going to pay for this.
Look, I don't care if you get teleported to different dimensions, kill goblins, come back with a beating heart after you've clearly murdered a person to get back home. Just don't spoil The Sopranos for me. This is supposed to be the Sorcerer Supreme, and yet he seems to have the moral compass of pond scum. Should I save the world and as many people's lives as possible? No, what I really care about is my television viewing habits. Don't worry though, he's not the only one. This is She-Hulk after all. Not wanting to save anybody else and only caring about your own self-interest is basically the theme of the show. But don't worry, because we've got Jen, who's decided to dress in a man's suit for some reason.
You look happy.
After that intro, how could I not be? Although I have to say, what's about to come is glorious.
I guess you saw that Wong is back.
I mean, Wong is just one of the many characters of the MCU you've completely and utterly destroyed in your recent movies, so not really.
God, everybody loves Wong.
I really don't. He was a sidekick before, and in Multiverse of Madness, you destroyed his entire reason for being, so if you want to keep characters around so you can use them as cameos to boost your other shows, maybe don't destroy them in movies just because they've got dangly bits. I don't know. Maybe that's just, you know, just a little piece of business advice for you.
It's like giving the show Twitter armor for a week.
This show was written to please Twitter. Doesn't everything make a lot more sense now? But her father's here and he's come to help. She got attacked in the last episode, and now he's got a shovel, cameras, and alarms, and he wants to make her safe, despite the fact that she's She-Hulk.
What's the shovel for?
Digging holes. Let's just leave it at that.
You'd think a lawyer would know the law about self-defense, but apparently not. No, she's going to need to bury corpses away from the police, apparently.
I don't need you to do any of this.
Empowerment!
My daughter gets attacked by 4 men and I'm supposed to do nothing?
In this show, Yes.
What did the police say?
Police stuff.
You didn't call them? Are you serious, Jen?
Yeah, she got attacked by 4 violent criminals and then just decided, I'll probably just, I'll forget about it. No harm done, no harm done. I'm not going to look for them. No one else is going to look for them. We're just going to leave them out there to go and do it to other people, I suppose. She's a great superhero. You've got Spider-Man going out into the neighborhood and just cleaning up the streets, and then you've got She-Hulk who, she applies lip balm and swipes right a lot. Just letting criminals go free no matter how many people they attack. Not even going to report it to somebody else that could actually be bothered to do some work. That's exactly my reaction.
I was a prosecutor long enough to know that they're not going to catch these guys.
Well, what?
Oh, well, there's no point in trying then. Let's just all embrace nihilism. Everything's already destroyed. It's all meaningless. We just go through life until we eventually rot in the ground. Have we worked out why the showrunners can't write a show yet? Might be because they're miserable and have given up on life. But she's like, if they return, I'll just kick their ass again. I don't care what they do to other people as long as they don't come for me. It's fine. Don't worry. I'm not a superhero or a good person or even moral. Now, where's my phone? I need to start swiping right. But we head to her office and see her to-do list. Now, at first, it all seems reasonable, but the show is desperate to tell you that actually she's got an incredibly busy day. And all I'm saying is maybe you'd have more time if you actually filled your day full of useful things, like color code sticky notes, order new Cheetos that she saw, order more chopsticks, stop wasting chopsticks, and drink more water. We've got desk feng shui and eat 1 home-cooked meal this week. She's supposed to be going out and getting a fella this episode, and she doesn't even eat more than 1 home-cooked meal a week. Maybe if you stop filling up your to-do list with crap like desk feng shui, you'd have more time to cook. And if you think I'm over-exaggerating just how much stuff was on her to-do list, then, here's the scene. I have a feeling the stuff she scrolled past between drink more water and desk feng shui really weren't that important. Probably can be safely knocked off that list. But she jumps to the most important thing about this series, which is getting down to the swiping. Yeah, we'll definitely do that one first. I always find calling herself Jen Waters Esquire, that'll get the lads. Now, these are the options she selected, which I think are the most unrealistic part of the show so far. Bearing in mind, we've previously had Abomination making toilet kombucha, and she's a Hulk. All of that is more realistic than the 36-year-old going for 30-year-old men to 45 and having a minimum height of 5'6". It's She-Hulk. Now, She-Hulk is meant to be 6'7", so we'll call it 6'11" when she's in heels. There is absolutely no way she's going for anyone 5'6", although she does push up to 7'11", so at least there's no maximum. But don't worry, her profile's complete, and if that doesn't get you going, nothing will. It's worth noting as well, she's doing this on her work computer in work hours, when she's supposed to be getting paid to work. Look, I know the only reason you got hired is because you were She-Hulk, but still, don't you think you're pushing it a bit far? Don't give me that look. Just because I'm above 5'6" doesn't mean it's an instant yes.
Perfect.
That's one word for it. I mean, I could think of another one for this app, but it probably wouldn't be too complimentary. Now, Gangnam Style was a rather awkward freeze, wasn't it? But don't worry, this is a superhero show, and entertaining the audience with their desires is exactly what this show has at the forefront of its mind.
We have got to get you some new clothes.
Yeah, if only I'd seen that part of Iron Man's life, his movies would have just been so much better.
How did you come up with the name She-Hulk?
You ding-dongs dubbed me that.
What does she mean by you ding-dongs? Does she just mean the press, or men? Because this news report is in an office, and that was done by the courtroom, so I don't even understand how these are related. Also, she's saying that to an interview that she was part of, so I don't know why she's suddenly throwing comments at the screen now, which she didn't reply in the interview. But at this point, Wong enters the room, and her mate is absolutely amazed by his power. Maybe she won't have to wear out the end of her finger swiping this week. Either Wong is very small, or she is really looking quite low on him. It's like, I have come with something of the greatest importance. And he starts moaning about the guy at the start. He studied under the mystic arts for a week, and now he travels, providing his petty party tricks for people. He has no idea what he's doing. He could unravel the universe. Maybe don't teach people the skills to unravel the entire universe in the first week. Just a suggestion, maybe leave that a month or two, wait until they're a bit committed. Jen could certainly learn from that advice. But Jen knows exactly his problem because she can't even wait until the second date. I swear these reviews have more foreshadowing than the actual show. It's like he's been using our teaching, sending volunteers into other realms.
It risks untethering the material and astral planes.
Can't help thinking this is a problem you've created yourself.
I need to make an example. No unlicensed persons practice the mystic arts again.
So why have you come to a lawyer? I mean, firstly, it'd only be statewide law, and even if it was national, it's not going to cover the entire world. If you really want to set a precedent that no one should do this, shouldn't you handle it yourself? You are the Sorcerer Supreme, you should have the power. But instead, we go, did he sign an NDA? Did he sign any contract saying that he couldn't do any of this magic? And the answer is...
No.
So why are we here? This clearly isn't a legal problem. If you want to solve it, you should solve it yourself. It's a magical problem, you've got magical solutions. You can send him into another dimension, as you were suggesting last week, and everything's fine. He has been sending people into other dimensions himself, after all. But no, what this is we wanted Wong back, couldn't come up with an actual reason why he should be here, and so invented one that doesn't make any sense. No, the show's secretly amazing, trust me, bruv.
We answer to a higher power, metaphysical laws of the time-space continuum.
And she drinks so much she passes out. Why have you come to her?
We do things by the book.
Book of Ashanti.
Doesn't really land any better than it did in the trailers, does it?
No, the Book of American Laws.
Oh yeah, I forgot it got worse. But he decides to leave her his business card. It's one of those self-writing business cards, you know, because the Sorcerer Supreme would definitely have those before leaving, and you're like, okay, finally, maybe that's the end of his case. Hopefully. Oh no. But we are at a bar and grill, and obviously what you expect to see in a bar and grill is, your lawyer doing legal work. Nothing says negligence lawsuit like finding out your lawyer was drunk on the job.
Parole brief?
Did you just woo-woo a parole brief?
At least there's one character who talks sense in the show, albeit briefly.
Hated it as soon as it came out of my mouth.
I hated it before it came out of your mouth because this is the second time I've watched it. But we get this guy coming up to them in the bar, and I don't know, I think this is meant to be bad. Are we trying to suggest that there's something wrong with meeting people in real life? And the best way is actually to go on an app where you just wear the end of your finger out by swiping right. Oh, I'm sure that couldn't be the advice of someone having a midlife crisis. No, instead, you know, I think she could do worse.
Two stunning women sitting all alone.
I mean, admittedly, he did imply he wanted both of them. Still think she could do worse. But you know, what does she say later? It's a numbers game. No, it's only fine when I do it.
Okay, well, there's two of us.
That's never stopped any man on earth.
Clearly in the middle of work here.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be, because you're doing lawyer's work in a pub!
When you change your mind, I'll be at the bar.
The show saw Rings of Power, thought it had a load of scenes that didn't make any sense and had absolutely no point to the story, and then they thought, we can do better than that. Literally no point for that entire encounter to even exist within the show.
See, that guy is exactly why I don't date.
Why, because he's the only man approaching you anymore and you're not happy with him? I mean, what are the other options? Casually hooking up with random strangers that you've never met in real life before? Foreshadowing! I always find the best foreshadowing is literally when someone screams it out at you.
There are plenty of non-gross people out there for you to date.
Somebody should probably tell those people then. But she's like, I want to see your swiping profile because there's absolutely no other possible dating site at all. Because the only possible way you can meet people is to only go on an app where you swipe people based on looks and immediately hook up with them. You know, the one where you meet them once and then never see them ever again. Yeah, that's absolutely better than meeting someone in a bar. But either way, she shows her the profile and we all know exactly what that's supposed to replicate.
I can't believe you put your lawyer's headshot on there.
And I mean, as opposed to what? She could be miserable at work, she could be miserable at home, she could be miserable in the pub. Which photo of her being miserable would you prefer that she put on the website? So instead, she just immediately starts swiping for her. Because looking at someone for 0.2 seconds is a far better foundation to build your future life on than, I don't know, what the guy did in the pub earlier.
Come on, it's a numbers game, all right? 500 swipes. You're gonna get about a third of those as matches, and the real filtering happens.
Sounds like a great way to get married. Now, I don't know if she's surprised or stunned at the advice she's just been given, but she doesn't disagree.
Hetero life is grim.
They're not helping.
What do you mean she's not helping? How could her tactics not lead to someone you spend the rest of your life with? It's mind-blowing that you don't have faith in this.
What if you made a profile as She-Hulk?
Yeah, that's a great way to start. What if you introduce yourself to people as an extreme thing which isn't really you, and therefore only interested people in the absurdity of it, who wanted to try it out? The novelty. Yeah, I mean, if that doesn't get a ring on your finger, I don't know what will.
I thought you hated the name She-Hulk.
Yeah, because that's the problem with the plan.
No, if I'm gonna date, it's gonna be as regular old Jen.
Because that's who you are. So she decides to go forward and build any future relationships on that strong foundation. And absolutely nothing could change your mind from that. Nothing at all. But the show thinks that that storyline isn't enough to grip you for an entire episode. I don't know why they think that. I'm on the edge of my seat to find out what happens. So we have to go back to the mage to find out what is actually happening. And apparently he's getting a cease and desist letter to doing magic. This seems like a long shot. But he's like, that's absurd. You can't copyright magic. You can't stop me doing any of this stuff. And honestly, he seems to have a point. You're a lawyer. You're supposed to do things based on the law. And this guy's just come along and gone, yeah, I don't think he should be allowed to do magic. And like, well, okay, what law's he broken? Nothing.
This is a farce.
This is a farce.
Most accurate line in the show so far.
You just like hype manning him?
Maybe.
I mean, it's all your friend does the entire episode. Well, that and turn you into a whore. And he's like, what's wrong, Wong? Are you scared I'll become more powerful than you? But she hands him his cease and desist, you know, for the law which he hasn't broken and therefore can't cease and desist from.
Cease and desist? What cease and desist?
Fantastic.
We get another shot of her phone background with Captain America's ass in it. Because every man wants to date a type B who's already got somebody else's backside as their phone background. Oh, please stop me. How can I possibly resist? But she does get a match as Jen. But don't worry, because the Sorcerer Supreme really wants to show that he is the true magician in this room. And so we have to put up with this. Hope you're impressed. Ironically, that makes him the first man with balls in this show. At least singular.
No, officer, that stroller hit me.
I'm not being funny, but there's no way she swiped right on him. He looks like a serial killer at a Teletubby convention. Of how many people did you swipe if the first guy ran over a pram? I can only assume it's because she's had absolutely no other matches at all, and this is the literal only person on her level. And She-Hulk is a self-insert. Power fantasy, remember. Every woman is supposed to be able to relate to this. Guy ran over a pram. Do you? But he starts talking about himself, and there's only really one thing which he's actually impressed by.
See, I'm a New Yorker.
Yeah, apparently living in New York is impressive to her. I have no idea why. Maybe it's because I'm a Brit, but everything there just seems to be overpriced and horrible. Especially when it comes to the overpriced part. Maybe I answered my own question at the end there.
Oh, how long did you live there?
14 months.
And you could see the disappointment in her face when she's like, oh, 14 months, you're not a New Yorker then. How on earth could I possibly date someone who isn't even a New Yorker? I've got standards, you know. I mean, they're not based around marriage, kids, how you raise them, or just general life values. No. Did you live in New York? That's what's really important to me. This show is like how to be miserable and have a midlife crisis 101. It's amazing.
But I decided I couldn't just be a yes man.
So what did you choose instead of this? This ought to be good.
That's why I'm an entrepreneur.
Betty selling Teletubby dolls.
Oh, in what field?
TBD.
At this point, even I'm like, yeah, yeeted. But as ever, that's not enough for this show. No, we've got to lay it on a bit thick. Twice. So first she catches him checking out other women available in the bar, and he is not subtle about it. Can we blame him though? I don't know. I'll leave that to you to decide. So he asks what she does, and she starts talking about being a lawyer, and he immediately just checks out his phone. Honestly, I don't blame him. You are a lawyer. You'd get the same response if you said you're an accountant. And besides, I'm not really sure what the message is here. Men don't care about your job? Yes. You're just learning that, are you? I mean, if anything, surely that's a plus. But she starts talking about a superhuman law division, and he doesn't care, and quite frankly, neither do I. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm a Hulk. Everything's amazing. He's like, I don't care. I don't care about any of this. And it's all largely set up for the end. And this ending has never happened in the history of the entire universe. Potential thumbnail number 2. Because they come back and they bring the check. He sees it. She sees it. And there's supposed to be this standoff. Oh, who's going to pay? And I mean, I don't know. He's unemployed. You're a high-class, well-paid lawyer. What do you think civility would imply in this scenario? But no, we don't care about manners. Instead... Seriously, look at that face. If it's that painful for you to pay for things, maybe don't eat them in the first place. But instead, what we get is both of them reaching for their handbags. I'm assuming the writers live in California, so I'm gonna let them off not understanding how men work. But they're both reaching for something. He gets his keys, she gets her purse, and he immediately runs off. I hate paying for things that I've already eaten. Potential thumbnail number 3. So she takes the bill. She's like, oh my god, I can't believe that price. And I'm like, yeah, he's unemployed. How do you think he would have felt? Mining those thumbnails. And the writers spoke about this moment. They spoke about, oh, I don't know who's going to pay, and the various different dynamics that go on between that. If you're in a very well-paid job and you earn, I don't know, maybe $100,000 or $200,000 more than the guy you're sitting across the table for, maybe pay. Not really sure why you're quite so bothered about it. I'm also not sure if they're trying to make out that he went out deliberately just to get someone to pay for his food because he was unemployed. And if that's what you were going for, you have definitely swapped the roles on that one. But we're back in court. And honestly, I didn't think I could find anything less interesting than She-Hulk's love life, but don't you know, life finds a way. So they're suing him for unfair competition and gross negligence over a magic trick. Now, he's just running a business doing magic, and multiple businesses can exist in the world. You don't even have any legal standing there. And negligence for what? Surely if he's been negligent and putting people's life at risk, that would be a criminal case, or should be a civil case put forward by the people who are the actual victims of it. Not just some random guy on the other side of the world which has nothing to do with him. Like, you couldn't train me how to play the guitar, and then moan if I play the guitar in Australia. But apparently that's the legal foundation we've got for this episode. One thing we all realized very slowly was that none of us were adept at writing rousing trial scenes. So she says, do you have any witnesses to corroborate this? And for some reason, as a lawyer, she hasn't thought about any actual evidence to back up her entire lawsuit. So instead, they come up with one on the spot and decide to magically summon them into the room. And she's literally at a bar, off her face. Seems to be a standard part of her life. Because she wasn't annoying enough the first time round, now you get her twice. Hopefully this isn't some big major celebrity that I'm supposed to know who I have no idea about again. So they decide to put her on the stand when she's drunk and literally got a drink in her hand.
You can finish it if you want. I'm not sick.
I think that depends on your definition.
I promise to tell the truth.
Rousing trial scenes. So she spells a name where the joke seems to be her name has a Y in it. Seriously, the creative talents on display here are astonishing. But she's describing what happened to her, and essentially she got sent to a demon which she made a pact with, and oh my god, it's so dramatic. I hate drama. Oh. It's so entertaining, I feel the need to try and bite my way through my own face.
Which honestly is so dramatic, and I hate drama.
Oh, what would happen if I did the entire thing like this? Oh yeah, oh. It's like they made every attempt to make all of their characters as dislikable to the audience as possible.
Okay, this was a mistake.
This entire show was a mistake.
It was your idea.
To be fair, she's just acting in it. We should blame the showrunners.
Portal that dropped me off at Wonger's house.
She literally just called him Wongers. Seriously, I thought my jokes in the last episode about him getting the time Wong were bad enough, but that one takes the cake. Wongers.
How would you describe your emotional state?
Severely damaged throughout this entire episode. Oh, sorry, you're talking to the witness. But she asked what her emotional state was. First it was fun, then it was scary, then it was scary fun. Oh, it's been fun overall. Then it was spooky, but in a fun way, and at this point, I just wanted to leave. In fact, I think I did leave. At one point during this episode, I turned it off and forgot I was watching it. This series is so bad, it causes amnesia as a self-defense mechanism. But she does a curtsy. Honestly, I don't know why she tries. And it's like, well, she enjoyed it, so how on earth can you be negligent and put someone in danger if they actually had fun doing it and the case gets thrown out? But it's like, this case travels through the courtroom rules. This can destroy the entire universe. And once again, if it's that important, why did you teach it to him in the first week, you lunatic?
Seeking to wield the power of gods.
Why did you teach him the power of gods in his first week? Even the Karate Kid had to clean windows and wax cars for a bit.
And that places us on the edge of a precipice.
I think you're being a bit overdramatic, dear.
All life within the known, unknown universe.
I mean, surely if you know about it, it's not unknown. And if it is unknown, how do you know there's life there? And why weren't you concerned about any of this when you were helping WandaVision destroy the multiverse, you lunatic?
Case closed.
Might be the most annoying person in the entire history of the universe. But she's like, the case is far from closed. I'm going to review all of the evidence and you'll have my decision. But he does a magic trick with a rabbit. And apparently she changes her decision because he summoned a rabbit. When I say summoned, I mean they put one on a desk. Look, even as I'm saying this to you, I understand it sounds ridiculous. Nevertheless, this is literally the plot of the story, no matter how unbelievable the description may sound. There are times I put the clip in the video because I literally think no one's going to believe this unless I actually show them. But it is time for the unveiling of the first ever thing in 4 episodes, which actually got a smirk out of me.
I also have a bird.
Hey, it's childish, but it worked. Got a smirk out of me, not a laugh, but it is the closest I've ever come to laughing at this show. Hey, look, when something's this bad, you take your fun where you can get it. So then he suggests sending him to the mirror dimension because he probably won't even die, and honestly, I don't know why you haven't done that before. In the last episode, you were suggesting that about literally everybody. Then you're coming in this one and just demand that people create non-existent laws for you to ban people from doing things that they definitely couldn't be banned for doing, so none of this makes any sense. We all realized very slowly that none of us are adept at writing trial scenes. Truer words have never been spoken. So we get a scene just talking about how she's a workaholic, you know, she works Friday nights, Saturdays. It's almost like that's a bad idea to do or push in a TV show is aspirational if you actually ever want a family.
Big night, lots of plans due to successful swiping.
Because swiping is literally the only way to meet people in this universe, apparently. Look, if I've seen you for more than 0.25 seconds before we start bending each other over, then it's all over. The magic's been lost. So she gets an alert that literally just says that no new people have matched with her. I can't imagine why when she's clearly not over Captain America. Where's that alert? And instead decides that she's going to make a profile for She-Hulk. Because if there's one strong foundation everyone can build a long-term relationship from, it's being a mutant green 6'7" woman who's radioactive and can lift a metric ton. Yes, who needs social skills when you can swipe?
I'm not proud of this.
I'd be embarrassed about this show as well, to be honest. But oh look, in this photo she took someone's advice and she smiled more. I have no idea what's going on in this picture, but it does not look complimentary. And then we see a phone screen, which is literally right. She's very fussy. Very fussy. Extremely. But wouldn't you know it? People love a novelty.
Well, that's demoralizing for Jen.
You are Jen. But despite the fact that she's like, I understand nobody likes me for me, and everyone's just using me because I'm a weird, freaky green person, and that will make actual me extremely depressed, doesn't hold her back. Definitely doesn't hold her back. It's cool, though, that he went to the Alvin Barber in Rings of Power.
How much can you deadlift?
It's always the first thing I ask. And she's like, I can lift a ton. Well, I just lifted 600 and I'm not even a superhero. I don't know what to tell you, love. You went for him because of his muscles and he's really proud of his muscles. What was this point of the show even for? And she draws her eyebrows down if she's not impressed. How dare a man try and compete with me on how much I can lift? I mean, of all the things to get annoyed about, it is someone trying to compete with your superhero strength that gets you, is it? I mean, presumably you chose him specifically because of his arms? What did you think you were gonna get? So of course he's proud of him. He's put a lot of work into him. Unlike you, who literally got it for no reason, and it's completely undeserved and unearned. Maybe that's why you don't value it as much, I don't know. But then he yells at the waiter and, yeah, she doesn't like that as well. No problem, though. We're off to the next one. You better strap in. She goes through him thick and fast here. Is this some kind of arty French guy? Oh, my movie premiered at Sundance. Oh. He literally says he made a film about a lawyer, and that was enough for her to, eat him. This guy's creepy and presumably something to do with the people that attacked her. He's all about what's your skin like, how strong is it, can vibranium get through it.
So is it true? Are you indestructible?
Nothing suspicious about that. We're just gonna leave that there.
God, you're just so powerful. What a specimen.
Did you just call me a specimen?
As opposed to what? I mean, you're not a human at this point, are you? You're a Hulk. That makes you pretty unusual. That would make you a unique specimen. Specimen's not even offensive. I don't even know what we're supposed to be talking about here. I could understand if she knew he was part of the group and she was going to be a lab rat for him, but apparently, no. This is just her getting offended by yet another bloke.
As a compliment.
Yeah, she's not impressed.
Is there anything worse than dating in your 30s?
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Did you consider this in your 20s? It's like if you've got a problem with everyone that sits across the table from you, have you ever considered it might be your fault? But no, we've gone through them faster than a deck of cards and we've ended up with this.
I'm in medicine.
Yes, he's a doctor.
Oh.
Well, at least she likes a doctor.
Can I be honest with you? I've been on so many first dates and I hate talking about myself. Tell me about you.
Now, there are many responses to this question, but instead the show decides to take it on an interesting route.
Should we split some fries?
Yeah, let's get those to go.
That's as easy as it is, folks. I tell you what, why don't you talk about yourself, you self-indulgent narcissist? Yes, let's get out of here, folks. I've never been talked to like that before. What does the writer of this episode really like in her fellas? Yes, they've got to make it all about me. Now, we go back to another magic trick. And he summons a portal, but she refuses to go through because apparently lots of people which have been coming here have just gone vanished or got ditched on the other side of the planet, if not another dimension, and she doesn't want that. Begs the question why she came here in the first place, got on stage, and then decided to take part if she already knows that his magic tricks are dangerous and can leave you stranded in Timbuktu.
I'm not gonna get into your weird fire hole.
Well, at least she's got some standards. So instead of a teleportation trick, he summons this bird. The bird flies to her hand, lays an egg, and then the egg hatches into some kind of weird gremlin troll thing. It's bizarre. But he's like, don't worry, folks, I can fix it. He opens up another portal, kicks the thing back into the hole. Of course, for some stupid reason, he's like, the show's over, folks, the show's done, and doesn't close the portal. I have no idea why. Now, later on, it says he can't close the portal because it's broken. But at no point has he ever tried to close the portal in the first place. He was just bragging as the thing climbs back up through it. And honestly, I wouldn't show that to She-Hulk. She might try and go on a date with it. But at that point, hundreds of the little things start flying into the room and just start attacking all of the audience. Loads of the little beggars come through. But don't worry, because that leaves us just enough time to emasculate Wong, because we didn't do enough of that in the Multiverse of Madness. And we dive through desperately asking for his help. Come through, I don't know what I've done. Something's broken. Please come and save me.
I'm doing this for the universe, not for you.
So he's not doing it for all of the people which are about to die in the theater then. I thought these people were supposed to be superheroes. But he tells him to call his lawyer, and the lawyer's a little bit busy. I want to say a bit busy, I mean getting busy. So she's just whining at him about every single minuscule problem she's ever had in her life. Honestly, I'm sure he's really interested.
In front of everyone, I had to transform. It was so embarrassing.
Yeah, really interested.
Wow, I can totally see how your boss springing that on you on the first day would make you spiral.
And he's clearly not just playing into what she wants, and she's giving him all the doe eyes. Oh, it's so amazing. Oh, you actually listen to me whine about the pointless, meandering, infinitesimal problems that I have to go through on my daily life. You don't need a husband, you need a therapist.
Tell me more about how you felt.
Oh, please don't. Save us all the agony. So, how did you know he was just leading you on? Well, he asked me about my feelings, but at that point, her ovaries explode, and she realizes her phone's ringing. We'll just put that on silent, shall we? Back to the ovaries.
You know, I gotta say, this is the best date I've had in a while.
Must have had a really low bar recently. Yeah, you see, I was on a couch, and she started whining at me about her boss, and her feelings, and how everyone just wants me because I'm a green radioactive super mutant. And then I went home, and I went out with someone who just wants me because I'm a green radioactive super mutant, which she knew was going to happen, and it's exactly why she made that profile in the first place. So one thing we can't do in this show is complain about it when we cause the problem ourselves. Foreshadowing!
Swipe dating is so dehumanizing.
Well, if it's dehumanizing, why are you both doing it? I mean, I entirely agree that maybe looking at someone's picture for 0.25 seconds, just to hook up for one night and then leave again, isn't probably the best foundation for a long-term anything. So why are you on it then? Because if that's what you want, that's what you're gonna get. But if you don't want that, it is a bit strange to imagine that's not what's going to happen. Foreshadowing! But she checks her phone and then mutes it again. Then she leans in to do something that I'm pretty sure would probably just break his entire jaw with her super strength. And oh no, I've spilt my drink on myself. I might have to just take my jumper off. How clumsy of me. It's at this point that having the guy have bigger muscles than her probably isn't the best idea when she's supposed to be a Hulk. But I just can't believe the sheer objectification that's happening in this scene. Must be so horrible for him to just contain his anger all the time that he has to do infinitely more than the Hulk does. Isn't it amazing how you can make a load of arguments in your first episode which you directly contradict in every episode afterwards? So he leaves, only for this to happen. Care to do a little role reversal on that one? No, don't have the guts. No, okay. He comes back asking where his shirt is. She's like, I don't know. Couldn't have been me. But she gets interrupted by the Sorcerer Supreme at a really Wong time. I told you, sometimes it's just for me. I need your help. You're not answering your mobile and people are dying. Please come and do your job for once and save some people's lives rather than just obsessing about yourself. So she reluctantly goes and actually saves people as a superhero and just starts beating the crap out of everything that's flying around. When they find out they're invincible, Wong starts sending them to some kind of ice planet, which is pretty cool, and just start yeeting them through the portal. Wong makes this kind of whip out of the destroyed portal, starts grabbing them all, lassoing them, and throwing them through the portal. And all of this is easily the best part of the episode because the rest of it, nothing really happens. I'm also a sucker for any kind of Doctor Strange magic, which makes it doubly awful, I think, a multiverse of madness. The stupid thing is, all of this goes on for quite a while of just getting rid of them all, throwing them through the portal, only for him to do this right at the very end, which makes the entire fight absolutely and entirely redundant. He starts spinning the portal super fast, and it creates a sort of suction effect, which vacuums all of the demons straight into it from the room. And only the demons, nothing else in the room is even affected by it. So if we can just suck them into a portal, why did we spend the last 5 minutes fighting them all? Why didn't you do that first? MCU magic has always been, it does whatever we need it to, but at least try and make it make sense. Because this was ridiculous. The rest of it has probably been the best part of the entire series. Admittedly, it's not saying much, but you know, it's still an achievement. And then they had to go and ruin it by making it all entirely redundant. But either way, their lives get saved. And she decides to blackmail them with a demon to make them forcefully settle the lawsuit. And I'm like, okay, there's got to be a law against that. I'm pretty sure you can't threaten your opposition's life in order to make them accept your lawsuit.
Maybe.
Because that's absolutely not a threat. 100% illegal. In a legal drama.
My office will be in touch.
So will the police. But we cut back to the guy on the sofa who is literally reading feminist literature. Here's a tip. If that ever happens to you in real life, run. But no. Ooh, it's an extra bonus here. I can't possibly imagine why nothing in her 20s worked out when that's a preference. But she lands on him. I mean, she's about 20 times stronger than him, and she just forcefully landed on him, and he doesn't look exactly pleased with it. It's an odd power dynamic, isn't it? Because he's now forcefully pinned down and can't escape, and he doesn't exactly look into it. So she starts hovering over him menacingly with a demonic ear in her face covered in, remains. Again, I'm sure he's into this. And he's like, what on earth is that on you? Again, doesn't exactly look into it, does he? I don't know, maybe it's the demon ear on her face that did it, or what can I say? But no, I'm just going to stare at you, creepily, from this position that you can't escape from. Then I'm going to forcefully pick you up. And if you want to see his reaction to that one, it's, interesting. Right? And then he gets carried away. And I mean, look, we did get this from the showrunners. You spend half the episode falling in love with him the way she does. Falling in love with him, the only thing he's ever said is, let's talk about you and let's talk about your feelings. Yes, it's definitely love. He comes off as perfect. He wants to hear all about her. This entire thing is centered on me. Yes, the reason it didn't work out with anyone else is because they wanted two people to be involved in the relationship. Don't they realize everything's all about me? Yes, he's reading the same books that she's based her life on, which is why she's just so happy and satisfied in her mid-30s. And then the cold, hard truth of reality hits, and it's so terrible for her that your heart breaks. But what could it possibly be? What could be so terrible that your heart would break for her? What can you not see coming? Surely this isn't something that could have been predictable right from the very start of the episode. Nor could it be something that she voluntarily signed up for. Oh no. Let's see how our hearts break. Well, it's the next morning, and she's making orange juice. She's so happy, everything's going wonderful. Good morning, sunshine, you owe me all the dirty deets. Because that's not something that should be kept private. Yeah, he wakes up the next morning, and he has a question for her.
Who are you?
Seems reasonable, she's literally not the same person she was yesterday.
Jen.
Yeah, but you're not She-Hulk, are you?
Not in Hulk form.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I went out yesterday with someone and then woke up and it's an entirely different person. You know, I mean, men are used to some things, the padded clothes, the makeup. It's not normally an entirely different person, though. I mean, you're not even green. That's why he was into you in the first place.
That's cool.
Not though, is it? Not really. When you weren't told.
Unexpected.
You say that again?
I made breakfast.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Because you're literally not the woman I thought you were. And she's like, oh no, I never saw this coming. Who could possibly have predicted this outcome? I signed up for an application which is purely there to swipe on people based on 0.25 seconds, where you just meet up and then leave again in the morning, never to be seen from anyone again. How on earth could I predict that that was going to be the outcome of the evening? I'm going to feel bad about this and then continue to push it as the way that we should live our lives. Empowerment! Look at the size of him though, he's built bigger than She-Hulk was. Oh no, I never could have seen this coming.
Whatever, hot doctor's a cliche anyway.
I honestly have no idea what other possible outcome you thought was going to occur from these set of actions. Like, literally no idea what you thought was going to happen. I can't actually even work out if the show is trying to say that swipe culture is a positive or a negative. Maybe you shouldn't go back to yours because someone said, talk about you. Maybe we shouldn't have a weird mix of incredibly high standards followed by incredibly low ones. It's like, seriously, dude, what is this episode? But then she gets served with legal papers, and it turns out that Titania has trademarked the name She-Hulk and is now suing her. And you could just be like, well, okay, I won't use it again then, bye.
Kind of a bummer way to end this episode.
Wait, look, what you did during the night's your business. Oh, I wonder if the after credit scene can live up to the incredible amount of excitement that we've had throughout the rest of the episode. I actually haven't watched it yet because every time I hit the credits, I just immediately yeet myself out of the room as fast as possible to get away from this. It's literally Wong and her talking about television. Seriously, these get worse. I don't even know how they manage it. And they're just there discussing what kind of different alcohol they've had. Is this what passes as conversation for the scriptwriters? I tell ya, I am a man out of my time. I really like technology, I like the internet, but socially, I am a man out of my time. They've managed to make an after-credit scene, which is even more mind-numbingly boring than the rest of the episode. Then this includes the last one, which, as horrific as that was, I don't think anyone could describe it as boring. And the one before, where she just held a car in the air. Welcome to a new low, folks. We've arrived. I hope you've got your tickets, because we might be here for a while. That was the entire after-credit scene. Literally talking about what they drink. And honestly, I don't think that episode of She-Hulk achieved what they wanted it to achieve. To me, there's only one message throughout that entire thing, and it's a self-report that the messages and ideas, the values that they live by, are made them miserable and alone, struggling to find anyone, no one left, and they think the only way they could possibly get someone is by literally transforming into another person, and then even that won't be satisfying, because when it comes back down to finding out who you really are, they'll leave, and you'll overcommit way too early because it's what got you there in the first place. If you wanted the perfect example of why all of the ideas and values being preached and pushed in She-Hulk as aspirational are awful, here's your episode. This is their self-report. This is what they value, what they relate to, and what they think that other people like them will relate to. And so there's always a question that you should ask yourself. Is this something that I want? Because this is the life that they have. This is what their values lead to. And if you don't want somebody's life, then you shouldn't be taking their advice. I'm all for self-improvement and step-by-step improving your life over time, but what you need is a foundational core of values that will lead to something strong, something desirable, something that you want. And that is most certainly not what She-Hulk is based on. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe. More videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.